A 7-year-old girl vanished without a trace from her hospital bed at St. Jude's General, her case sealed off as a quiet tragedy and buried under official records. For 2 years, her disappearance was dismissed as an unsolvable mystery until a sewer crew dredged up a child-sized hospital scrub jacket from the city's underground canals, carrying a hidden mark that shattered the lie and proved the story was never over. The early evening air settled over the city of Axton, a modest suburban community that prided itself on the pristine facade of its institutions, especially St. Jude's General Hospital, which gleamed under the fluorescent lights as a beacon of medical excellence. Yet beneath this surface of professional smiles and sterile efficiency, a silent storm had been brewing for 2 years around the vanishing of a 7-year-old girl named Maya Bell. She had disappeared from her hospital bed, leaving behind nothing but cold air and the official conclusion that she had succumbed to a rare, non-curable illness, with the hospital claiming complete erasure of her records due to renovations or privacy protocols. 2 years and 4 months passed, and the file went cold, the case swallowed by the bureaucracy of Axton and the desperate need of the community to believe the lie. Secrets, however, buried deep enough, eventually become heavy enough to crack the earth above them, and the silence of the official story was about to become loud. It was just past 6 a.m. when the call came. 2 maintenance workers, Jake and Tino, prepared for a maintenance run in the damp, rusty environment of the Axton Sewer Department, heading for the old St. Jude's Overflow, a place Jake called a drain trap where you find things that people pray stay buried. Their mission was routine, checking the Ward B lines for structural integrity, old money, old problems. But 400 meters south of the main overflow, their retrieval probe snagged on an obstruction, pulling up something white, thick, heavy, stained black and brown from the rushing water. It was a piece of cloth, a hospital scrub jacket, child size, immediately recognizable as standard-issue St. Jude's medical wear, an item Jake knew, having heard stories from his sister, a former janitor, who spoke of the special inventory. Jake flipped the garment and found it. A small, hand-stitched symbol in blue thread, a tiny interlocking sequence of 3 circles, too specific to be random, a non-standard issue stitch used by older staff for special inventory. A garment that was never supposed to leave the hospital, not ever. This soiled fabric recovered from the depths of the canal system was the unavoidable clue that shattered the official narrative of erasure and began the long road back to truth, forcing the case, which had gone cold faster than January, to go loud once more, as this single anomaly was the undeniable proof that something physical, something belonging to the victim's environment, had escaped the hospital's airtight silence. Detective Marcus Cole, 40s, sharp, perpetually tired and haunted by the missing girl's photo tacked to his cold case board, felt the familiar flicker of cold interest in his gut when Gary, a uniformed officer, dumped the soaking wet scrub jacket on his desk. Cole remembered the file, the conclusion of Maya Bell's sudden terminal medical crisis, the parents supposedly spiriting her away without releasing any personal effects, a total erasure. He examined the 3-circle stitch, cross-referencing the original case file, finding nothing in the property logs, confirming the scrub jacket shouldn't exist. The composition revealed a special blend used only for the old Ward B annex, decommissioned in 2005, a place of exposed pipes and peeling paint, not where a 7-year-old patient in the main ward should be. Cole knew the next step required breaching the institutional lie, so he went immediately to Dr. Vivian Holt, the hospital administrator, a woman whose face was set in a chilly, professional mask. Dr. Holt, impeccably dressed behind a massive desk, dismissed the find instantly. "This case is closed," she said, claiming the jacket was merely soiled fabric that likely fell from a laundry cart during renovations, or perhaps was an inventory coating for discarded linens, nothing more. When Cole pressed her on why the girl's parents were allowed to remove her without an official death certificate, Holt invoked HIPAA, confidentiality, and an ongoing familial issue, threatening to contact the chief of police if Cole persisted in his harassment. Cole picked up the garment, his conviction solidified, telling Holt he was pursuing erasure, not harassment. Cole's determination, much like Laura Calloway's, was rooted in a nagging instinct that went against acceptance, knowing the hospital wanted the public to accept the lie and move on. Cole needed confirmation of the jacket's significance, so he visited Marcia, Maya Bell's mother, a woman consumed by grief but possessing a fierce, quiet determination. Marcia's apartment was a shrine to Maya, photos covering the mantelpiece, a heartbreaking testament to 2 years of living with the silence. Marcia confirmed the hospital's story. Maya was gone in her sleep, a rare, fatal condition. But the truth about her father supposedly taking the body without notice had always felt false, a fabrication to prevent a burial or a memorial, to deny her a grave to visit. When Cole placed the scrub jacket on the table, Marcia's denial broke, and she slowly examined the three-circle stitch. She drew that, she whispered, explaining that Maya, a quiet, artistic girl, hated coloring books, but loved drawing that specific pattern, her magic rings, always wanting them nearby when she was scared. A message, meaning she never left. The hospital claimed laundry waste, the mother claimed a message, and Cole knew the investigation was now a moral imperative, a search for the truth hidden behind a sophisticated, systemic cover-up. The procedural deep dive began immediately, Cole operating under the assumption that the vanishing was an orchestrated removal that began with Dr. Holt's paper trail of deception. He knew the first step in a conspiracy is always the paper trail, bearing the truth under compliance reviews, audits, and privacy protocols. St. Jude's claimed digital corruption of 2013 records, but Cole demanded the microfilm paper archives for the Ward B Annex, the exact place where the scrub jacket originated, including every requisition order, maintenance log, and patient transfer manifest from that decommissioned wing. Gary, the uniformed officer, located the microfiche and projected a document on the wall, the Ward B Annex decommissioning report from 2005, revealing it was registered not as a medical wing, but as Veritas Project Storage, controlled access only. The funding source for Veritas was redacted, eventually leading back to a private entity, the Mornington Educational Trust, the same institutional umbrella tied up in the missing children case 27 years ago, linked to Principal Lillian Brooks. The trust's local asset manager was listed as a Dr. Alan Thorne, former St. Jude's pathologist, the very man who signed Maya Bell's falsified hyperplasia diagnosis and then supposedly disappeared. Cole next visited Mr. Jensen, the medical uniform supplier, who confirmed the Annex 7 scrubs were special order, high-tensile thread, and that the three-circle stitch was a personal modification ordered by Dr. Thorne, claiming it was for inventory flow in the restricted unit. Jensen added that the requisition order for the specialized scrubs also included soundproofing materials and lighting systems for the annex, details that confirmed the space was never just storage. In the city planning archives, Cole found a 2005 zoning permit revealing that St. Jude's had applied for renovation permits for the annex, claiming demolition of a non-load-bearing wall, but the floor plan showed a sub-basement access shaft beneath the Ward B kitchen, filed by a shell corporation, Veritas Holdings. The evidence pointed relentlessly toward a systematic architectural deception and a highly organized long-term operation, mirroring the complex plot of a bus being diverted and the system covering it up. Cole understood the hospital's public grief was manufactured. The real truth was buried under compliance reviews, meant to be ignored so everyone could move on. The investigation required confronting institutional fear, so Cole tracked down Rex, a former St. Jude's maintenance worker, at an old decommissioned rail yard. Rex was paranoid, having signed an NDA and been threatened into silence, stating, "You stir it up, all you do is wake the wrong people." Cole showed him the scrub jacket, telling him if Maya was alive, she was down there. Rex recognized the stitch immediately as belonging to the safe zone inventory, only for patients moved towards 7 Sub, the hidden place below the annex, which was soundproofed and equipped with specialized lighting. Rex confirmed he saw Dr. Thorne, and once, late at night, a child patient wearing those same scrubs being moved to the kitchen access. He also remembered hearing something in the main line one late night, a scratching sound like chains shifting on concrete, which he was told was just the pump system. This noise now confirmed the scrub jacket's location, having been pulled out of the exact overflow canal leading from the Ward B kitchen line. The discovery of the annex confirmed the crime was a high-concept operation, not a simple crime of passion, a bare hollow project BHP testing site, an underground facility where children were subjected to psychological field tests. Marcia, Maya's mother, was informed of the entire timeline, the Veritas project, Dr. Thorne's involvement, the falsified records, and the sub-basement. She refused to be left behind, telling Cole, "I don't care. I've been living with the grief of a missing child for 2 years. Nothing is more dangerous than that silence." The climax of confrontation and revelation began in the darkness outside Dr. Thorne's old lab, now a darkened, abandoned structure near the hospital, the stench of rust and chemical disinfectant heavy in the air. Cole, with Marcia by his side, followed a narrow maintenance tunnel that connected directly to the St. Jude's canal system. Marcia whispered her terror, unable to comprehend why they would take a child even if she were dying, but Cole confirmed the diagnosis of hyperplasia was synthetic, a term used to cover up a different truth. They reached the sub-basement access shaft beneath the old annex kitchen and pried open the heavy, sealed metal hatch, the metal shrieking with a screech like a scream. The space below was a network of clean, concrete corridors, sterile and cold, but ominously quiet, labeled Ward 7 Sub. They quickly located an office area running on low power and a massive reinforced door marked Observation Chamber, Subject M1. Marcia's heart hammered as she saw the label, M, Maya. Cole found Torn's keycard and swiped it. The door clicked open with a heavy pneumatic hiss. The room inside was clinical, windowless, yet grotesquely decorated with pink princess stickers.
A horrifying juxtaposition. Curled up under a blanket on a child's bed, attached to monitors, was Maya Bell, now 9, rail-thin, with haunted, panicked eyes. "Maya!" Marcia screamed, rushing forward, but Maya shrank away, terrified, whispering, "You're not real. Daddy said everyone's dead." Cole realized Maya was suffering from the same psychological trauma inflicted on Izzy by Charles Rhodes, having been made to believe the world had ended. Marcia slowly showed Maya a specific childhood toy, a unicorn she never slept without. Recognition finally dawned on Maya's face, a slow, terrible dawning, before she flew into her mother's arms, confirming to Marcia that she was, in fact, real and alive. The moment of reunion was shattered by the appearance of Dr. Vivian Holt, dressed in a clean white lab coat, holding a medical chart, radiating a terrifying mix of clinical annoyance and professional fury. Holt calmly informed Cole that Maya Bell's identity was terminated. She was now Subject M1, Veritas Project, never meant to be found. Holt dismissed the hyperplasia diagnosis as a pathologist's error, revealing the truth. Maya possessed hyper-resilient syndrome, a non-fatal, extremely rare genetic anomaly allowing accelerated regeneration and disease resistance, and the Veritas Fund was dedicated to studying immortality by observing the subject through prolonged isolation. She confirmed the children who vanished 27 years ago linked to the Mornington Trust were the first wave of subjects, those too young to question or too broken to resist. When Cole confronted her about the scrub jacket found in the sewer, Holt revealed a hidden partition, exposing a smaller chamber with a sterile table. Inside was the single, water-damaged jacket belonging to Subject P2, a failure, a child they attempted to induce the syndrome in, who had escaped 2 years prior through the drainage pipe system, dying in the canal. This child had left the jacket, her final, desperate clue. Holt then revealed Thorne's fate. He grew sentimental, tried to take the research, and was terminated. Holt had him erased. As Cole drew his weapon, Holt smiled, stating the police had no jurisdiction. Her funding and investors ensured her silence, and then activated the containment protocol, sealing the sub-basement and initiating the flood. The rising water surged into the sterile corridors, but Cole, remembering the manual overrides common in institutional buildings, forced the hatch open with a heavy pry bar, and they climbed out into the cool night air just as the water rushed up the shaft. The swift consequence and legacy phase began immediately. Cole's failsafe, a burner phone with a GPS timer, had successfully uploaded their location and a file of evidence, leading to the arrival of police sirens. Dr. Vivian Holt's body was recovered 30 minutes later from the Ward B overflow, tangled near where the first scrub jacket was found. The Veritas Project died with her, but the investigation did not. The scandal rocked St. Jude's General Hospital, leading to multiple arrests of administrators and staff who had accepted massive bribes from the Mornington Educational Trust. The high view counts seen on these types of stories are justified by the dramatic and public consequence of justice. Maya Bell, though safe, faced a difficult road of recovery from the long-term psychological manipulation she had endured. Marcia planned to move out of Axton, seeking a new start, a real life, just as the surviving children from the cults and trafficking rings eventually broke their silence and found their way to advocacy. Maya, displaying her strength and resilience, drew her mother a new picture, confirming she was strong enough to remember, drawing the figure running toward a sun, and beneath it her 3 interlocking magic rings. The institutional shift at St. Jude's General Hospital began immediately, mirroring the systemic changes implemented at St. Mary's General Hospital after the revelation of Thomas Edwards' true identity. The hospital's proud facade finally cracked, exposing the horrifying truth that some systems are designed not to heal, but to hide. Cole, like Lana Whitaker and Claire Rann, had refused to accept the silence, his persistence in pursuing the truth proving stronger than the decades of institutional erasure. The case, now reopened with the evidence of a systematic program, served as a final chilling reminder that the world often forgets those who vanish, but sometimes a persistent protagonist finds the clue: the scrub jacket, the GPS ping, the hidden photo, the etched names in a wall that forces the truth back into the light. The case of Maya Bell was closed, but the shadow of the Veritas Project hinted at the discovery of other towns, other kids, a final warning that the threat of erasure and institutional horror was far from over. And just like that, the quiet case everyone thought was buried came crashing back to life. One missing girl, one forgotten hospital, and one clue pulled from the depths that changed everything. If you want more stories like this, cases the world tried to erase but refused to stay hidden, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. And if you're ready to dive even deeper into the shadows, click the first link in the description below.